You are listening to the Try Guys podcast. I'm your host, John O'Newland, along with Jimmy, the Grizzly Bear Newland, and Kane, the camera guy Reisner. We are an entertainment to get you through your workout, not teach you how to work out, but you might learn something along the way. All right, boys, what do we got going today? What was your workouts? Kane, what'd you got? What'd you have this morning?
Yeah, so it was not this morning. I got home from work and I ran 4 miles this afternoon. It was supposed to be 5. That was the goal starting out, but yeah, I wasn't feeling it. So
what happened?
4 it was.
All right. So you take today off? Do you take Wednesdays off? Yeah. You said you didn't do anything this morning?
Well, I just didn't get up in time or didn't feel like working out this morning. I'm still getting over a cold. I don't know if my voice sounds nasally, but
4:30 every morning.
Every morning?
Every weekday.
Now you sound kind of quiet.
Just like a grizzly bear.
Now I sound kind of quiet. All right, let me fix this. We're doing it. Hey, this is first episode live run through. Okay. I haven't ran very much since what was the last thing we did? The half? Right?
Yeah, you did the half, I did the full.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
how long ago was that?
September.
That was on the 18th of September.
Yeah.
And I've done 3 workouts since then.
I think I ran 4 miles since then. I worked out a lot. I've been swimming a lot more at the YMCA now, which has been good.
So you're planning to swim through winter, like the off season, and then prepping for next? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the season's over, or do they do any? There's any triathlons happening?
No, well, not around here. Too cold.
Well, they're doing other races though. Like they just had the Fall 50, which was a 50-mile race last weekend, in Door County. I think there were 2. There was one downstate.
A run?
Because there were some local people that ran it. Yeah, a run. It's a relay, I think.
Oh, okay. I think I saw something about that. But yeah,
I do have some around me. I think winter ones. What in the winter? What do they do? Do they like for the swimming portion?
Well, they just don't have them in areas around here where it's cold. But if you go down south,
through the ice.
They still have all of them going.
They put a metal helmet on you to split the ice as you swim.
I wonder if southern states still, like, if they have a season. Like, we have a season of summer where we do all of our events. But, like, if it's always warm, like, is there a defined season?
Yeah, I would assume that it's like professional season, but then like amateur could be going year round because like rock climbing, other outdoor stuff has season based on the seasons, but then they also have like the professional time frame.
I just Googled it. There are winter triathlons where they are literally running in the snow.
Where do they swim? Do they have like a line in the ice?
Well, there are pool triathlons even in the summer, so it could just be a pool event.
That's gross.
Oh, it would be inside and just
laps in a pool.
So I saw your workout, Jimmy, on Strava. What was you did? What was it? So 1,300 yards, 1,200 yards.
But that's all broken up. Rarely do I swim more than like 150 yards at a time at a single like run. Like for example, yesterday morning it was broken up into 50s. It was 12 50s followed by 7 50s, 7 different 50-meter swims followed by 5 50s.
Yeah, for your workout. Okay,
and that was the whole workout, and it was awful. But
and what are you specifically working on with your swim?
Form. Trying to get form. So I'm trying to keep the drag from happening. Right now, my
feet,
I can't do it. My legs are dropping. My legs and my hips are dropping, which is causing a lot of drag throughout the pool.
It's like I'm just picturing your head like straight up, feet straight down in the water.
It's probably not that far off. No, but I've been swimming with James, and it's like frustrating, disheartening sometimes because he's so good at it, and he's like trying to tell me what to do. It's like I'm trying, but I can't feel the things you want me to feel to know if I'm doing it right. And breathing is just impossible right now.
I would say, though, that recording your swims, like the video with a GoPro, is a really good idea to get immediate feedback on what your form looks like.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
He brings that once in a while. And it's really cool when he does that. I think I've gotten a lot better since last year when I went to the pool with him. I don't remember.
Is there any like form? I'm sure there's like form drills, but even like assistant. So you've talked about before wetsuits like making you buoyant and doing that. Does that hurt your form or does that help?
That helps. That's like a crutch. It's like,
oh yeah, that's what I mean. Would it hurt you using that in training? It's not like teaching your body how to do it.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Or like putting, you know how like golf, I've heard this one where you put like a golf ball under your chin. I don't know if it really worked, but to keep your head down, it's like, oh, so you don't drop it. Like, so people who'd look up, someone had said that once. Kane's smiling at that. I know the golf master there is like, that's a dumb one. Don't do that. But something like that. If you had floaties or if you had something that's like correcting your body and like getting your, I don't know.
Well, there are different drills that you use different pieces of equipment for when you're doing swim training. Because like we'll always warm up with swimmers, flippers, and then you have what's the middle piece? The leg buoy, right?
Pull buoy, yeah.
Pull buoy, thank you. And then snorkels and stuff. So you use different pieces of equipment.
Yeah, and actually the drills you should be
in training
all that.
Yeah,
because there's swimming there's like so many. So this is the way James explained it. There's a lot of different parts that you have to like all have to come together. I'm pretty sure, like you said about golf, I'm pretty sure it's the same in a golf swing. There's a ton of different small parts in a golf swing that you need to think about, and it all has to come together at once. And that's the same thing with swimming. So it's like not like there's a lot of different things to think about, which makes it frustrating because the whole time you're swimming, you also are trying to breathe and not die. Like you're trying to like breathe enough, get enough oxygen while you're doing this stuff. But a lot of these drills sometimes mess you up.
Thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Forget to breathe.
Then you start panicking. And that's one thing James said too. He's like, a big thing is don't swim like you're trying not to drown because that like breaks all your form, basically. But no, there's really good drills, and drills are probably what I should be focusing on more than the actual workout, because the workout's mainly just to get cardio in. Like the drills are where I'm going to make most of my gains in swimming for sure.
Right, and I know swimming
doing a lot of
really impacts running, and I'm assuming biking, just the endurance and like cardio in general, just for lung capacity. I remember Trevor, who I ran against in high school or with in high school, when he swam that summer, he ran a lot though, but he increased his times a ton just by the swim.
Swimming's hard. Swimming is so hard.
I know.
Yeah, that's the one I don't know much about at all.
I enjoyed.
Your camera's getting so blurry.
It's so bad.
Peeking out of the corner of his eye.
I see. Just sorry.
Your audio sounds great.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed swimming when it was Tim and I, before I started going with Jimmy, and well, eventually I'll get with James too. But it was just like, just go out there and do some laps. Yeah. That's all it was. There was no structured workouts.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Get in the pool and get some water time in. And then what was it, last week or no? Before I left for Germany.
Right? Oh no, yeah, 2 Thursdays ago.
Yeah, so 2 Thursdays ago we did that first workout, and it was just like, man, this is so much work, and it was so hard, and like I was almost drowning like half the time.
Because you get so little oxygen actually coming through in your breaths, which makes it so tough. Because then everything else.
The drills we were doing. Yeah, the drills we were doing where it was like, hold yourself underwater as long as you can and just see how far you can go with like each arm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it's good because you're supposed to be able to, and that's kind of what I'm working on. You're supposed to be able to feel like how your body moves underwater. You're supposed to be able to feel what that, forgot what that position's called, but just, you're supposed to be able to feel what it's like to feel flat just so you can get the hang of it. And I think I'm getting better every time I'm doing it. I can't tell. The times are like slowly improving, but it feels like it's get hard. Like Tuesday was rough. Yesterday was real rough when I swam. Like I wanted to stop the whole workout pretty much before it started. I did my drills and I was like gassed. And then so it's hard to get through. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow morning either.
I have very little experience in the pool. I mean, swimming in general, whatever I did growing up, but the one time I went to go do laps, like the first time I got sweaty in the pool, I'm like, this is weird. This shouldn't happen. It was so odd.
It is weird when you're sweating in the water.
Oh yeah, it's so hot, dude. And then you think the water would cool you off, and I just get so hot. It's awful.
It's a weird sensation. It's like it feels different than like sweating when you're running or biking or doing something else. It's a different feeling.
Because there's no
relief. I was potentially going to go to the Y in the morning. I'm checking out one of the local ones, see if I want to get a membership there, and try to do some swimming. But I get so tired so fast, like 3-4 laps, and I'm done.
I would say if you do swimming, like right now, like just talk to James or look it up. Like just look up drills to do and what you should be focusing on, and work on drills for half hour. That'd be better than you gassing yourself in 20 minutes.
The local high school has a swim team. I could try to swindle my way on as a coach and just learn from that.
I'm sure you'd pick up a lot of good nuggets.
Yeah.
When I first started, all I did was, and I was like you, I could barely do a lap, right? So a down and back, but I just kept doing a down and back, take a break, down and back, take a break, down and back, take a break. And I was like, all right, down and back, take a break. And then, build on that.
Yeah.
Eventually I got to the point where I swam 3/4 of a mile straight. And I was like, I could have gone all day. Well, of course it was a slow pace, but at least I could do it.
Yeah.
That's what you want to get to.
I don't think I told you, Kane. I was trying to race somebody in the lake. And I was like, I was taught very minimally by Scott too, which I know he's like, James is probably a better one to receive swim instruction from.
Scott,
careful, he's gonna watch this.
They're both good. James just focuses a lot. James trains. I don't know what Scott doesn't train, but James trains a lot harder.
What Scott helped me with, it was awesome. Like it was being able to just do the breathing pattern and trying to showing where I'm supposed to bring up my head and kind of or just options that I could do. And so I was like, oh, I got some basic swim. I can keep going and not having to pop my head up and take a breath. So I'm going to beat. It was racing a kid, I think, into the dock. And I just put my head down and I just went as fast as I could. And I popped up and I was way further away from the dock than I went when I started. He said I started going and I just instantly turned and went the opposite direction. And I was so turned around when I was so exhausted and further away out. So I could imagine that starting a swim and doing that and just not being right on track.
Yeah, in relation to tries, this open water is a whole different beast than pool. Also, no matter how fast and
can you even see?
You got a sight. You have to pull your head up to
you have
sight.
To pop,
yeah.
Pop up.
And the thing I don't get, people that are good at swimming, people who were swimming in high school and now swim for triathlons, they can pop their head up and still be flat. I've seen it, people do it, and every time I try, my whole body just goes straight like that. It's rough.
Pop your chest up.
Open water.
Like that Nick.
Dude, I doggy paddle in some waters, dude, with the waves. I've doggy paddled a lot. Open water gets scary because it's a weird feeling.
Imagine the ocean, the Ironmans that they do in the ocean. To me, that's pretty crazy.
So Ironman California just opened up for registration 2 days ago.
Are you going?
Are you going to register?
I don't know.
Dude,
do you have to have qualifying for that?
No.
Do Madison with me in 2 years.
In 2 years?
Do the half with me this year, Kane, and then do Madison with me in 2 years.
Where's the half?
Door County half?
Door County half, yeah. That'd be the if your first. You could do it, but if your first introduction to triathlons is an Ironman, that's pretty nuts.
This is a good segue into the first segment, but I want to give a little context first. Question of the day. For a little context first, I have not done any sort of triathlon. I am generally athletic. I ran in high school and cross country, and I biked as a kid, and I could swim. That is my only experience, and I am pursuing to finish my first any type of triathlon, sprint, whatever. But Jimmy, you have done how many now? 4 or 5? 4?
4. 4 sprints.
So were they all 4 sprints?
They're all sprints. They're all very
And Kane, you haven't done any triathlons, but you just finished your first marathon.
Yeah, I've done a half marathon a few years ago, and then I did my first full.
Yeah, I haven't even done a half marathon.
I did a half with this past.
That's crazy. I just didn't want to do any organized running. I just run on my own at the time, anyway. So anyway, a little bit of context, but that brings us to question of the day. This is where we cover one question to help us in this group to get better at knowledge of triathlons. And for me, I want to know, how should I approach my first triathlon event?
I'll start.
So how do I train for an
Ironman?
How do I sign up for anything? That's the question, because I was looking around the area and it was like, oh, you got to register to be a part of this group. So I'm in Pittsburgh, and it was like the Pittsburgh Triathlon group was something, and I was like, is this a club that gets me into triathlon? Like, what's the process of even getting signed up for your own first triathlon?
Some triathlons make you you need to be a member of like the USA Triathlon group.
Okay, so they're a part of it.
I don't know what it's like. USA Triathlon.
Oh, I thought you were looking at your camera.
USA Triathlon. Oh no, I was looking.
Yeah.
And then once you get that, it'll allow you, if there's an event sanctioned by them or whatever, then they would then you could sign up. But it's like $50 for a year, I think, and then you can do. It's almost like a park pass for going to parks. Then you could do all those triathlons.
Okay, but then you pay for the individual one after that.
Yeah, then you have to pay for the whatever the fee is.
But when you register, do they give you a list of the ones that are out there, or you just you would pursue the triathlon and then they would say, hey, we're a part of this group, and you'd have to be a part of that group to do it?
I think the best way would probably be just Google triathlons around me, or there's probably a site. I know there's one like run.
Yeah, I did find
me or
like
something.
some lists, and I could
There's,
probably
like if you, I think it's runs near me or runs.
I've got runs.com.
Running the USA.
You can just
Running
search.
the USA is that one. Like that's for different runs.
Oh yeah, that's the one that popped.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
so
there's,
if
I think there's some for tries, or you could, if you search.
But
you can
if I sign up for my first, say, a sprint triathlon, I know I could probably just finish it and be really, really terrible. But I know I'm probably in shape enough to be able to do each element.
Sorry, the camera's so bad. It's so bad.
I know, but I feel like the camera should be 30% of concern, 20% most.
I know. I just can't stop laughing at it. That's all. For the listeners, my camera's not focusing, so it just makes me blurrier and blurrier, and it's just funny. That's why we keep
doesn't
laughing.
want to move to
We're not laughing at
unfocus,
John
so
talking.
looking at the corner of his eye. So I sign up for my first triathlon. What type of equipment can I use? Do they have limitations? Do I have to have, like, can I show up with a Walmart Next bike?
So yes, if you wanted to, you could.
But
the only thing
for like a general sprint triathlon for the public,
like okay, so you'd want like a road bike or like a training or a time trial bike or a racing bike, but those are real expensive. But like a general like road bike.
So I'm just thinking of hurdles that would stop me from doing my first one. So I would have to first sign up.
The bike is the biggest.
Sign up.
The bike is the biggest.
So the bike, having equipment, which I have one, it's not fitted well, but it's a hybrid bike, road bike that would do for sprints, or what, 10 miles on bike?
It varies.
18.
Like my sprint in Door County was 18, but in the Mish it was like 14.
Okay. So having a bike, and then swimming is literally just a swimsuit. And
well, you can wear whatever you want. A wetsuit would be the best way if you're in an event that allows a wetsuit. That'd probably be the best.
Okay.
Or jammers, like swim. Well, really, no. You just want to wear your tri shorts because you want like the shorts that you wear on the bike. Because you're going to run in. Yeah, you're not changing.
Yeah.
That's a That's a big one.
Okay, so we'll start at the beginning.
Especially for a sprint try, right?
So for a sprint try, because you want to be at
the beginning. I show up on event day.
Yep.
I'm registered. They have a registration booth, I would assume. You go.
Well, that's like the day before, but yeah.
Yeah. But I set up. Then how about your transition points? Do you have to set those up prior?
Yes. Day of event, you get there early. That's where you bring your bike to your transition area. And the transition area is the area that all the different disciplines converge to. You'll go there every time before you go out. So you'll set your bike up. You'll have, depending on the size. So if like you're an Ironman, like those people will have separate bags for each discipline for swimming and running. For sprint, you just want to lay it out in the most efficient way possible to get it all on when you need it. So obviously you're going to start with your jersey. You'll start with your jersey and your shorts, your bike shorts on. And then if you have a wetsuit, you'll put that over it. If you don't have a wetsuit, you don't have to wear the jersey. Some people don't.
So can you start with your wetsuit? Because swim's the first. So
yes, you start with your wetsuit.
Start with the wetsuit on. So
they'll usually have people that strip.
Off.
There's usually strippers on the runway. They'll let you lay down and they'll just rip it off of you. Then you go get the bike. So you got to get your bike shoes on. You got to get your helmet on.
They have their own. They have their own people to like. They'll just pull.
Some events have strippers where you unzip.
Yeah, like big, but is it like big events or is that like your sprint events that if you wanted to take the wetsuit. I'm talking about like what I'm going to do, a sprint, a local
I take my
amateur
own
sprint.
wetsuit off. Some places allow strippers, and if they're there,
people to bring the stripper to with
like
them.
there's volunteers. You don't bring a stripper. There's volunteers. There's like 10 people that are on the runway, and as people come out, if they stop and put their like arms out for you to grab,
I gotcha. Okay,
just rip it off. Then you go get your bike stuff on.
Strippers
at Dork.
Sorry, Jim. Were there strippers at Mish?
Not that I remember. No, but there's enough. Okay. Like your family could have did it because there's like there wasn't really anything back or like separating family and friends from the runners. Or the racers.
So you're done with the swim.
You get your bike stuff on. Off. You run your bike out to the bike start. You start biking, and then after the biking, you get off the bike. Lose your helmet, lose your bike shoes. You want to slip on
the bike
your running
path
shoes.
Will bring you all the way back to
usually an out
the
back
transition area
or a circle.
Okay, so for some reason when I think of it as like all linear, where it's like, oh, I'm swimming to a spot and then I'm biking out to a spot and then I'm running to the finish line that's way away. Not like everything's looping around. I don't know why I thought of it that way, but I was
where are we right
now?
now?
How the heck do you have to?
I don't know. 3.1 miles from the office.
Iron Man. I'm 300 miles away. Whatever. But.
No, it's all think of it as like the circle, like a hub where the transition area is.
A little clover leaf.
Then all these all the disciplines go separate ways. Yeah. Actually, the swim usually starts away from it because you can't. I don't know. Sometimes you swim out and back.
Yeah,
I guess
I've just never really thought of it, but that makes sense. Okay,
but so the biggest thing is getting your transition area into place. That's like what the biggest focus for triathlon specifically. You want to make sure all your stuff is set up. And Scott's really good at that. Like in our sprints that he's done, like he's got it down to a T. Like every little thing is perfectly placed for him when he gets there. I was in Door County. I had my running shoes tied in my transition area. So I had to untie them. I had to untie them to put them on and then retie them. So I lost 20 seconds.
They have
rookie.
Yeah.
They have flexible shoestrings as well. I've seen.
I got those
to where
after
you can
race.
stretch them. Did you? Okay.
Yeah. And really, you don't need tight shoes. Like your feet are going to swell when you're running stuff anyway. You don't need to tie them tight. Yeah. So like anything, you just slip on to go. But for sprint tries, your main focus, because like you can't really. There's not much you can add besides like working out.
I'm
and stuff.
pumped thinking about this now. I want to get out and do it.
There's not much you can add to like get faster. But a big point that you can make up a lot of time is the transition areas. So, for instance, in Door County, last year my transition times probably averaged like 2.5 minutes, which is terrible. But I almost passed out after the swim because it was so bad. But this year it was like maybe 1.5 minutes average, which isn't bad. But the guy who won the race, his transition times were like 30 seconds. Like it was under a minute. Both of them combined under a minute. Yeah.
Wow.
That's so fast.
Under a minute. And and he only won the race by like a minute.
That's crazy.
So like because when the people that get really good, they usually do everything in the same like speed, basically. So like the big edge you can get is through transition times. Like I talked to the kid after. I was like, hey, like way to go, way to win. I was like, how are your transition times so fast? He's like, I've been practicing them since I was like 13. Like transition time specifically. He has his shoes on his bike to start. Like, there's a lot of ways to make it real efficient, but transition times are a big part of it. And the more you do, the more you get used to what you're expecting, like what you need. Like, for instance, Scott, when we were at the Mish, coming out of the water, we had to run along the beach to get the transition area. And Scott has like a little bucket that he has water in that he just steps in. He takes a couple steps in before he puts on his bike shoes. Just gets rid of the sand quickly.
Nice.
So that's a lot of people do that. And then he'll have his goo.
Are there any restrictions to what can be in your transition area? Maybe and on an amateur level?
No.
Typical airport restrictions.
Transition prop.
Yeah, TSA going through there.
You got to
come on, the back of the line.
No, there's not really. There isn't really any restrictions like beyond what you would actually bring realistically.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah,
right. But so any way you could think of like, oh, this isn't on this sucks when I don't set up this well. So like Scott bringing the bucket, like
some
I've had issues with.
You have to look at your triathlon rules too, because some have different.
Yeah.
Some just have different rules. Like also they have rules where you can where you have to get on the bike and where you have to dismount. But usually there's a ton of volunteers at every event. They're just yelling at you to like what you can and can't do.
Really.
Well, like
stop,
I remember,
stop, don't
so
go.
I was finishing the bike in Door County, and there was a huge sign that said "dismount here," and I was like, okay, so I'm going to go really fast and dismount so I can run my bike to my transition spot. And then like the whole 50 meters to it, they're like, no, get off your bike here, get off your bike. But I was going fast, and like I was like, yes, I know, I get it, like I know what I'm supposed to do here. And they
it is like the TSA.
They act like I was about to like run into construction,
just plow through. Just keep biking. Don't even run.
Yeah, but it's the most fun. It's a lot of fun learning the transition areas and preparing.
Yeah, that does sound.
You got to prepare the night before, the day of. Like, I mean, James writes on a booklet and he writes down everything he needs for all his transition areas, what he needs to eat before. He has a victory bag at the end with candy bars that he eats too for his Ironmans. Ironman, like I said, Ironman's way different. I don't have that experience. I'm excited for the half this next year to see.
And what is a half? It's a half Ironman?
Half Ironman, yeah. So it's what is it? 1.2 miles.
1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike, and then a half marathon, 13.1 mile run.
Yeah. But the nice thing about that, so sprint is like sprint triathlons are like an hour and a half. Okay, for me it was like an hour and a half of like just nonstop going as fast as you can. So for me, for the half Ironman, and when I do an Ironman, it's going to be more of like survival. So I could take as much time in my transition areas as I want for those. That's more of like trying to recoup and like get energy back before I start the next discipline. When the sprint, you want to make it as fast as you can. But the higher you go, and I mean professional Ironman, like they're still just as fast through their transition areas probably. But for me, I'll probably take 5 minutes. I mean, in the half Ironman, I'd probably take 5 to 10 minutes each transition area because over 7 hours, 20 minutes isn't going to – I mean, 20 minutes would be quite a bit. But over 7 hours, I'm not going to get mad over 20 minutes if I took 10 minutes each time. I probably wouldn't take 10.
As long as you finish, right?
Right. But basically, as long as you finish and under the time, then it counts.
For me, I don't think a half Ironman, like from a finishing standpoint, I feel very confident that I can do it as long as I don't panic when I hit open water, right? So like I would need to do some open water swims before I do it. But finishing and just finishing, I feel 100% confident that I could do it. But being competitive and actually getting a good time, like what I know I could do, I feel like there's so much prep and training that needs to be done to be able to hit that.
That's where I think the appeal for repetition comes in. Like, you do one, you have your set time that you got. Okay, now how can I shave it off? How can I shave it off? And just keep going from there.
Just keep building. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
so wrapping up the...
I was going to say, I think the more people I do, like there's a lot of people that are like, I'm going to do one Ironman, just say I did it. And then the second they do it, then it's like, no, I got to do it again because I got to beat that time. Like they'll think of something that I can do better.
Or like if I would have known this before I went into it, then I could have fixed it. Yeah. So wrapping up the question of the day, because I need to get my first try in somehow, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it in the winter, but if I sign up and if I just have like general gym shorts that I can swim in and run in and bike in, or I'm just trying to think of everything I have right now, not have to buy anything.
No.
Just to complete. Don't do it.
Get tri shorts. You have to get like tri shorts.
Because would I just really thin that like evaporate the water well?
It's basically like wearing Under Armour shorts with a pad under for the seat for your bike. And it's
Lycra. So it's just skin tight.
And then loose shorts will cause a lot of drag.
Better than when you're doing it.
Loose shorts will cause a lot of drag in the swim and the bike and the run, and I feel like they wouldn't dry like near enough, like not fast enough.
Okay.
So tri shorts is probably the big thing, and the jersey is nice too because it's breathable.
A bike would be important.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Everything I have at home, I could go do a try right now. It may be uncomfortable, but I could do it. And then a sprint fashion, like running a 5K, doing 15, 18 miles on a bike is doable to power through.
People do it on mountain bikes. It's nuts.
Cool. Well, that brings us then to our next segment. I think we beat that horse to death.
Head horse dead.
So the next one is a popular segment around a lot of things, but it's Would You Rather. So we're going to. No
one's ever done this segment before in the history of podcasts.
Well, so we're the first.
This is the first time you're going to hear Would You Rather question.
I'm so excited.
So the first one we got here is: Would you rather do swim without a wetsuit or bike with a mountain bike? So I can only speak to my experience individually, not in the format of a triathlon, but my knee jerk is to swim without a wetsuit because mountain bikes on like open road I hate.
That would be you would rather swim without the wetsuit.
I don't know what the longest I've swam in consecutively is. So
in a sprint,
I don't know how
400 to 800. I don't know. It depends on what the triathlon does. What would you do, Kane?
100%. I would rather swim without the wetsuit. Biking on a mountain bike sounds horrendous.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's tough because depending on the distance, if I don't have.
That's true. I mean, if it's like a full Ironman, you gotta do like 2 miles.
Yeah, if it was a sprint,
I hate the noise of a mountain bike and an open road. Just
like ride over a pop can.
So
and you're just like huffing it. Oh man.
Another anecdotal piece of evidence here. What was his name? Who was the guy that went on the 100 or the century ride with us, Jim? The guy that almost passed out.
Oh man. Oh, I can't remember. It's Cubby's buddy.
It starts with a C.
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. His name's not important. So it's what he said that's important. So he told me, and I don't know who else was around in the group when he said this, because he rides a mountain bike everywhere, and like he rides like 160-mile rides all the time. Like he rode across Utah and Arizona and across the.
But doing mountain biking,
Michigan.
Or he would just use as a mountain bike.
Use his mountain bike, but on the roads, and he would just.
Which is way more
traverse
right?
and
just not as fast.
It is more comfortable in like slow, like grand touring scenarios like this. But he said that he saw a study that the size of the tire on the bike doesn't actually affect your speed.
I don't know.
So it doesn't actually.
How couldn't it? Because it's bigger. It's wider, so there will be more drag, and there
would be more friction, right?
Well, and I don't know. Even wind resistance, I would think, at the micro level, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the drag on the width of the wheel would just be more than a skinnier wheel.
So I've also heard in the tri world or the biking world, cycling world, that people are letting air out of their tires now. So like, you know how when we ride, it's like 110
all the
PSI.
time, baby.
But I've heard of people, and I might have been looking on Reddit, people were dropping it down to like 90 or 80 because that's like the optimal PSI where it's a softer ride, but you're not losing any speed from it.
I don't know. I've heard more that people go even higher. I've heard people go higher than what we usually do because
higher blowout.
Depending on, again, it's on the distance too. Like a more pumped up tire, I think, is going to give you the ability to go faster.
80's the new meta, man.
I guess so. I don't know. I don't think I could ever.
No, I don't know, but I've definitely heard that. So
so much dragging.
Yeah.
But for
that
a smooth ride,
play into this conversation about would you rather bike with a mountain bike or swim without a wetsuit?
I guess looking at the wetsuit side, how many people like who finished, Jimmy, and the 4 you've done, how many of them used a wetsuit who were finishing top? Was that just like standard to use a wetsuit?
It depends. Actually, like some of the more top people, so James was first out of the water by I'll just use Mish. James was first out of the water by a long shot. And another friend of ours, Elizabeth, she didn't use a wetsuit, and she was actually she's a very good swimmer. She swam through high school and college, and she didn't have a wetsuit, but she's just really fast. So it just depends on your skill level of swimming too. If it's a shorter race like a sprint, I think I would go without the wetsuit on this one. I think I could survive the swim, and the time I would lose from even a slower swim would be a lot less than the time I lose with a mountain bike compared to a road bike. You know what I mean? Like a mountain bike could add on 5 to 10 minutes of riding, and without a wetsuit, I'd probably lose like 2 minutes. But the higher I go, if I'm doing, if we're talking about Ironman, definitely I want to swim with a wetsuit, and I could care less how fast I go on the bike.
At that point, because it's about surviving, right?
I want to like lay out flat and just float if I have to. If I'm sinking,
so when I panic, I can be on my back, flailing my arms and legs.
Honestly, like if you get to the point where you're panicking and you sink and you can't just float on with the wetsuit, like it gets scary because you're doggy paddling, then you're tired, but that's why I'm trying to get better at swimming.
But would 2 minutes of swim time, giving up 2 minutes of swim time, exchange equally with 5 minutes of bike time? Because I feel like it would. Don't they have different value?
No,
I know it's like down to the minute, but
because it's overall time.
But if someone,
time
it's overall time.
I guess.
So it'd be 2 minutes compared to 5 minutes. Yeah.
Stand corrected.
I get what you're saying. Like thinking of it that way.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking
separate. Two like
minutes, a ratio, right? But if
2 minutes could be like 20% of your swim, where 5 minutes could be like 1% of or 2% of your bike.
But
like
if it takes 2 minutes off of your swim, it's only giving your opponent 2 additional minutes. If you're trying to go like winning the race, and then same with the bike, so it didn't make sense. All right, here's a good next one. Would you rather bike a triathlon with a hemorrhoid or run with a chafe?
Well, these are so bad.
Where's the chafe?
It's right where you think it is. Right in the grundle.
Where you don't want it to be.
Right in the grundle.
Okay. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad. They're both bad.
And you start with it too. You like you get to the point where you feel like you're like, oh, I'm definitely gonna like bleed after this, like in the thighs. So, that's where your chafe
bleed
starts.
On both of those.
Which one? Oh, the chafe. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I feel like with the bike, as bad as it, you can at least stand while biking. You know what I mean? Like lift your butt off the bike.
Not with the way you're leaning.
A little bit.
Well, you can't bite.
Yeah,
you can't
but
really.
Your quads would be.
Hey,
I didn't know if you could.
But you can't do anything running to get rid of that.
With the bike,
you know what I mean? There's
actually,
no relief
you could
running.
Scoot yourself off the back of your seat a little bit, but then you're putting a lot of pressure elsewhere. But you could scoot it off the back of the seat.
True,
dude. I would.
But the sitting.
I don't know.
Does the seat, would that affect a hemorrhoid that bad?
Oh, it's so hard, dude. The seats are so hard. Yes.
Yeah, my seats.
I went on a bike ride this year like that, and from the get go, it was. And I knew I was like, well, my night's ruined.
It was miserable.
Because I've already left, and I'm going to be back an hour and a half.
I think it depends on how bad the hemorrhoid is.
Is it an itchy kind or a painful kind?
It's got to be comparable to the chafe.
It has to be. Comparable.
It's got to be. They got to be comparable.
It's painful. It's painful. Yeah.
Ooh. I would do the chafe.
With the chafe, like,
because it's
the hemorrhoid doesn't get.
For me, it's another time thing.
Yeah, because the run gets done sooner.
Yes, and you can run wide leg. I mean, biking. You'd think you could lift your butt up to bike, but that would just destroy your legs so fast.
But does a bike agitate? Because you start at a certain point, you start, but then it gets worse as you go. Running directly impacts the chafe getting worse and worse and worse. How much does biking impact the hemorrhoid getting worse? There's a ratio.
It's just constant pressure on that seat, though.
It's constant pressure, but not necessarily movement.
And you're leaning forward.
Where
you're
chafe is constant movement.
You're opened up when you're leaning forward. Like you're opened up. That's like that's contact.
How much your hips aren't like waddling like a goose walking.
But it's just
you know what I'm saying?
It's just like a pressure on it all the time.
It's constant pressure.
You're straight up, opened up, and it's just on it. It is pushing.
You hit bumps. Now bumps would be rough, but I'm saying like you start running and it's like land erosion. It's gonna get worse over time. It's just slowly gonna get worse and worse and worse.
True, but the run's a lot shorter.
And then also you gotta think,
or not slowly,
or instantly. It'd be awful. And you also gotta think recovery time. What would be worse to recover from? I think chafing's worse to recover from because hemorrhoids have a mind of their own. They come out when they want, go back when they want.
I don't know, man. I think a chafe, even a bad chafe, might take a day and a half. And if after the race, if you can slap on like Gold Bond,
yeah.
I don't know. For me,
do you go with the dry powder, or you go with some?
Yeah, so 100%, and this is probably because I have not experienced a painful hemorrhoid. Okay, so I am going with I would rather bike with a hemorrhoid because chafing is
All right,
like
think of
it's
taking
the
a BB
worst.
gun and just popping off right in the rear, man. That's what it feels like.
Oh no.
Even okay,
But
Constantly.
chafing is like that too. Chafing is such a stingy feeling,
dude, that's
it's so powerful.
That's what it's like with the hemorrhoid too. Though it is powerful. So the thing that they both have is that you can't mind. Like I'm sure if you were David Goggins, you can't mind over matter them. Like they're there. Like you feel them even on that bike ride. I was like,
I love this hemorrhoid. I love it.
I guess the chafe would be enough to physically slow me down to where I couldn't run with it, like from the pain. The hemorrhoid,
Change your running form.
The hemorrhoid is just like it's a mental battle because it like the bike is so much so much longer. Always gonna be so much.
like
That is true.
biking's a
The bike
mental
is
battle.
longer.
And
The bike
that's what
is
Jimmy was saying.
That's an
back to what
hour
he was saying
compared
with
to
time.
An hour compared to 25, like in a sprint. Like imagine like an hour or 50 minutes compared to. Hey, it's half the time basically.
If it was a aggressively itchy hemorrhoid, I would pick chafing 100%.
Well, I guess
Because that would
that's
be
what it was on my bike ride.
I would be screaming biking.
That hour and a half was
Just-
terrible,
Oh.
and I was with people, so it's like I can't just turn around.
Yeah, I'm still going with the hemorrhoid. I think there's a way to maneuver yourself so that you're at
I think
least
I'm on
you
the
can
chafe
you
now.
can no
I'm
you
on
can
team
take a
chafe.
break. You can take a break from the hemorrhoid. Like you could stand up for a little while and let your bike coast. Where a chafe, you have to stop, which means you are losing
You
time.
can do the big wide
and
leg.
the only time that you progress is when you're running and chafing.
You can kick out your feet as you run.
To me, I think it's always going
Or
to
you
be
just
a time
tuck
thing.
up the shorts up high. Try to get a little barrier
time
there.
under
Pick up
stress.
a handful of dirt.
Man. TOS right there. Time
Yeah,
under stress.
I'm back on Team Chafe because that
we need to get Kane a
time.
painful hemorrhoid first. That's what we really need.
I don't know if we didn't give Kane anything.
Hey, that leads into our next segment perfectly. Squad goals. That's Kane's number one squad goal. Get a painful hemorrhoid.
Yes.
To practice the bike
And
with.
report back to us.
So yeah. So next segment, going into squad goals. This is where we talk about what are we going to be doing this week, what are our targets, what are our goals. Obviously, it's not tri-season, so there are different things you want to work on.
But we're always trying.
Maybe workouts you want to implement, but we're always trying. And so I am trying to find a good routine to where I have access to a pool. So looking at local Ys, trying to find one that's close enough, that is open early enough, that would work with my schedule. And so I'm going to go visit some this week. And on top of that, trying to do, how many days a week was it? I was just going to do 2 to 3 miles, like 4 or 5 days. So what is that math-wise?
So you're going to do 4 days for this next week. You're going
10 to
to
15
run
miles.
For this next week. You'd run 10 to 15 miles. That'll be one of
Yeah. But then I want to implement some strength training. I haven't been structured with that in a long time. I just usually do like HIIT training. So need to lean on you guys for that. Get some good workouts I can implement and try to just build a routine. So starting to get that. So that is my goal for next week, to come back reporting that I have done my runs and done my research and getting closer to a routine. So that is my squad goal for this next week.
I'm going to write that down too.
Love it.
Yeah, I should. I'm going to type it.
Or you could type it.
Kane?
Yeah, Kane, go.
Cool. So my goal right now is just to get back into some sort of routine. So like the past, I would say 8 years, the longest I've taken off from some sort of, so a lot of it before this year and like half of last year, it was always resistance training. So it was a lot of weightlifting and all that, but I had never taken an extended period of time off from training. And so the past 14 weeks prior to my marathon, it was all marathon training. So I switched from not 100%, but say 80%, 70% resistance training with endurance training mixed in, to 100% endurance training, all running with some biking in there, focused on my marathon. And then after my marathon, the day after, I was flying somewhere, and I had been traveling and sick for the past 5 weeks now. So I've literally gotten, I said 3 earlier, but I got 4 workouts in the past 5 weeks. So it's just been super sporadic. Sleep has been bad. I've been all over the place. So now I want to, it's off season for me right now. So it's going to be getting some resistance training back in, getting some easy runs in, and then working on my swims and working on my bike. I still got to buy my bike trainer so I can have an indoor.
You going
this
Wahoo?
Are you doing what Jimmy has?
The kicker? Or are you going something, the Zwift one?
I think I'm going to do the kicker. I looked at that Zwift one that they just came out with, and it doesn't look like it's going to do what I want it to do.
Do you know Tom? I'm not going to say last.
Fan?
Yeah. All the stalkers are going to find him now.
No,
I think he bought.
Lives in a van.
Oh, no, he bought the kicker core. Never mind. I thought he bought the Zwift one. Never mind.
Which one do you have? Do you have
I have the
Smart?
kicker Smart. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's the top model, right?
Yeah, but the kicker. So I was talking to Tom, and the kicker core that he has is basically the same thing, except for I don't know. You might want to look into that. They might be almost the same thing because he does all his workouts.
I had looked at him once.
But you can compare them.
Yeah, 2 years ago I was gonna buy one of the two, and I never ended up doing it. But I had done the research, and I don't remember what the differences were.
Now you will. Okay, so what's your goals then?
Now I will.
I don't have a space for any biking thing where I'm at. If I did like biking at the Y with some of their machines during is that like a good enough? I mean, I'm sure
it's hard,
better than nothing.
So the big thing,
because I know you want to train like on your bike.
Well, the big thing too is like the muscles that you're training while you're doing it. So like sitting on an upright bike at the YMCA won't be the same as like leaning forward. They have some that have a little, and they might have some that can lean forward, but like positioning is like the big. It might transfer. I don't know. I've never done it, but I would think
I've done it.
You'd want it. Like I don't think it would transfer directly though. Like there are different muscles that you're hitting the way you're leaning on a road bike.
It's similar, but it's not the same. And so I guess it would be like a 60 to 70% transfer, in my opinion. Because I've done like the YMCA bikes, and I've done the Peloton. So yeah.
I'm just getting used to biking. It'd probably be fine.
Yeah. It's okay. And you're specific this next week.
What are you going to do this next week, Kane?
Next week. And say,
what workouts are you going to do?
What did I do? My squad
when we come
goal
back next week,
I completed.
Kane, what did you do?
Yeah. So are we saying like 7 days? The next 7 days,
basically. What runs are you going to do? What are you going to come swim with me tomorrow morning? What bikes are you going to do?
Yeah, I'll swim with you tomorrow morning.
Well, there's one.
There's one.
Yeah, so I'll do that. So
swim tomorrow.
Okay, so 7 days of time. I'm going to say 5 to 6 workouts. I want to get my easy runs in, which are going to be 4 to 5 miles right now. And then I want to get at least one swim in. So this could be it, or maybe next Tuesday. And then I want to do, so that's, I didn't say how many easy runs, did I?
Well, how many runs did you say?
So a few easy runs. Well, I said 5 to 6 workouts. So we'll say 6 workouts. So we'll say 3 runs, 2 resistance training days, and 1 swim day. That would be 6.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you can't go tomorrow, that's fine. I do have a snorkel now too, though. That I mean, if we wipe it off enough, you could share it. It makes those drills a lot easier with like the holding the one hand out.
What's a Sunoco?
A snorkel.
Snorkel, he said.
Oh, snorkel.
A snorkel.
You gonna share it together?
Yeah.
I actually might wait to swim again until Tuesday.
Yeah,
I did my first resistance training in months. Yesterday or 2 days ago. I can barely even lift my arms because my lats are so sore. All I did was pull-ups and bent over rows.
Yeah.
For back anyways. But it's horrible.
So right now I'm in a good routine and I work out every day of the weekdays.
You've been a freaking maniac lately.
I'm afraid to not wake up. You know what I mean? Like I'm afraid to not go.
Yeah.
You're afraid you're going to die. No, I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up the next morning.
I'm afraid to stop. I'm afraid to miss one day because I feel like if I miss one day, I'm afraid that's like a snowball rolling down the hill eventually.
Yeah.
So I've been getting up every day. I lift on.
How many days in a row have you done this?
Only weekdays. So it's only the weekends. I usually do other stuff. Like I had a spike ball tournament last weekend, play flag football on Sundays. This is week 4 that I've done it. And it started.
So it's 20 business days in a row.
But it's must be 19. It started on Tuesday back then. Tuesday of week 1 started on Tuesday. Week 2 was full. Week 3 was full. Yep. This is week 4. So yeah, it's been all those days.
Oh, so you're.
So it's 5, 10.
So Friday you'll be
14.
19.
Yeah, Friday will be 19. Yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow will be 18. Yeah.
Well, they say it
Dang.
takes
30?
21 days
20,
to create
yeah,
a habit.
21. That's right, 3 weeks.
So I would say, I mean, just blow that out of the water and just go to like 40 days, and then
I'm not going to stop. So the big thing for me is like a lot of workout stuff has always been like I had to be motivated to do it. So if I was motivated, I would work out, but then that would like go away so fast. It'd be like a week. I'd be like, yeah, I'm all about this, like eating good. And I listened to Joe Rogan, and he was like, dude, motivation. He's like, no, dude, it's all discipline. It's not motivation,
discipline.
All discipline. So I've got that in mind. And so I'm not even looking ahead to like, will I be doing this in 40 days? It's like, all I'm thinking about is like, I have to get up tomorrow morning, and that's it. That's the next step. I don't think too far ahead because then it gets overwhelming. It's like, I have to get up every single day at 4:30 for the next 30 days, whatever. It's like just the next day, like I have to go to bed right after this so I can wake up at 4:30 to do it again. And I think that's been a huge help looking at it that way, because it's that way I'm going into it knowing it's going to be very hard and it's not going to be fun, but knowing that I can get over that hurdle, like when the alarm goes off in the morning.
I think your biggest win is going to be that first day where you wake up and you want nothing to do with getting up to work out, and you still force yourself to get out of bed and get to the gym and get that workout.
Day two.
That's gonna like you'd be your.
Oh, those
What's
days
that?
are
Day
awful.
two.
That was day
I already
two.
won.
Dude, day two was so hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've gotten up before and sat on the edge of my bed, and I've just sat for like 4 or 5 minutes. Like, I don't want to do this.
I got up.
When you get up and you finish, it feels so good.
So the big thing for me going to the Y, the biggest hurdle I have is getting into my car. Once I sit down in my car, it's over. I'm already on. I'm gone. Like, I'm going to do this because I'm not going to go to the Y and just sit there. Like, I'm going to do this workout. I'm not going to be able to go back home and go to bed because I'm already awake. So as long as I can get into my car, that's always like what I tell myself. Because there are some times getting out of the bedroom is hard enough. Like, I was staying at the end of the bed. I'm just like,
those 5 steps from the bed is the hard. I throw my phone into the middle of the room, so I have to get out of bed to shut off the alarm, just to try to get a couple steps going.
So you can't climb back in.
But it's so easy to about face and turn back and get in bed real quick.
Yeah, mine's on my dresser.
Those first. Yeah.
It's rough. No, but it's been way better. It's gotten better. Like, now that I think of that, now it's not even a thought. Like, I get up and it's like, oh yeah, this is what you do. Again, yeah. But I'm here and I'm doing it. But so I've been doing it. I'm going to keep doing 3 resistance training days. I hit 500 on the leg press today, by the way.
Oh,
that was a big milestone.
That's
in
your
my
arm,
life.
Kane. That's not your leg, Kane.
2 swimming days. Tuesday and Thursday, and then this is the hard part because everything else I do has to be done after. So I will do 2 days of running. I bought new Hokas and I haven't worn them yet. I bought them like the week after our run came, after my half.
So are they legit, or are they just? I see them and they look cool, and I see people wear them just for tennis shoes. But are they like awesome running shoes? I have an Asics and Brooks as the 2 I've done.
I feel very strongly on this subject, so I'm gonna chime in here. So, yeah. In the good old days, I used to be a big Nike bro, right? So everything was Nike and Nike running shoes, right? And then there was all this hype when you start running, getting into running, where all this people hate Nike running shoes. You either hate them or you love them, but a lot of people hate Nike because they say they're not that good. Then I switched to On running shoes, the Swiss company, and they have like all the Cloud shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And when I first put on my first pair of Ons and ran, I was like, man, these are it. Like, I will never buy another shoe. These are so comfortable. I could run forever in these. And then we took them on our honeymoon, and we just did hiking. So I was just walking around, but we hiked a lot. Probably 50 to 60 miles of hiking. But then when we got back, my shoes were trashed. Like, they wore right out. So then
really?
The soles were gone and they didn't provide the support that they should have. Then I bought my first pair of Hokas, and this was for training for this marathon that I just ran. And I put them on and ran 7 miles, and
I was running.
It literally felt like I didn't even have shoes on. What'd you say?
I put them on and I was running.
I was running. Anyway,
going
so
anywhere.
my first pair of Hokas, they're the Hoka Mach 4s, and they felt like literally like running on beautiful, fluffy clouds, like better than the Cloud On shoes that they
they claim to be
clouds. Yeah. So, but
Okay,
the other thing
all
is these held up over time. So
and you
throughout my
use
entire-
those on your marathon.
No, he used running
No,
shoes.
I bought race shoes. Those are like super
race shoes.
cushiony,
They're just
like
like-
long
Yeah.
run training shoes.
Race
Right?
shoes are like very
fast shoes for race day.
for racers.
So the biggest thing for me was halfway through training for my marathon, I went for a run because I wanted to switch up my shoes. My feet were not getting used to just one pair of shoes. So I did a run in my On shoes, and it hurt so bad. My feet hurt so bad. I could feel like every inch of the road. So for me, that was kind of like, that was it. Like, I know that the Hokas are so much better.
I've
Jimmy,
always
your
done
camera looks good.
Asics, and Asics have been tried and true, but they don't. I don't know. I'm always willing to try something new.
I also have Hoka Mach 4s, and so James kind of pointed me towards them, just towards Hoka in general, and he told me what he has, and so I went with them. And the thing, I'm afraid to try something else because like how everything you've tried, like you went to the On, and then the Hokas is like an improvement. I'm afraid to spend like $150 on a pair of shoes and then have it be worse than the Hokas. I don't know. I tried some Brooks on at Shields and they were okay, but it's like I know the Hokas feel good and I can run in them comfortably for a long time.
Have you ever gotten fitted? Did you ever go somewhere and get fitted for shoes?
No, it's pretty running. I've heard bad experiences from fitting sometimes too.
Like when you're walking on a treadmill and they watch
your gait and stuff, or all those words.
I mean, yeah, they do that, but there's
Jim, you're a little quiet with your. I don't know if you're further away from your mic.
Okay.
There's they also have machines where you go stand in it and they look at the angle of your feet. I don't know if that actually affects your shoe, but basically what you do is you put on different shoes, walk around, jog in them a little bit, and it's basically all off of feel. And I did that before I bought my Hokas, and so I tried on like 10 different pairs of shoes, and like I could immediately tell like these are the most comfortable. So if you're gonna switch, I would say go get fitted, and if you find a pair where it feels like they're more comfortable than the Hokas, then you at least have something to benchmark against.
I don't know if I want to. I like my Hokas a lot. I like their color schemes too pretty well.
I love their colors.
Bad. So also I'm gonna run 2 days. 3 to 5. And then at least one day. I don't want to commit 2 days to biking because that's a lot. That'd be 4 2-a-days basically. I'll commit 1 day to biking.
8 workouts?
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I want to do all the resistance training is so different than the other ones though. So it's like, I mean, you're still, I don't know, it feels different to me. Like the cardio workouts aren't hard to do. It just feels separate from resistance training, even if I do them in the same day. But
wait, so you like endurance training more than resistance?
No. Doing them 2-a-days, it doesn't feel like it's doing resistance with endurance doesn't feel like I'm stacking like a workout in a day in a bad way. And I do one in the morning and one at night, so it'd be
okay. That was my question: is do you do them back?
No, so it feels like it's separated too. It doesn't even feel like it's in the same.
How far do you typically go on bike? Not saying you have to commit to like what distance.
If I do it for one, it'll be like at least an hour. I'll commit to at least an hour, and it's harder to do distance. Time is easier to calculate on there because the distance, depending on what you're doing, you could be doing a King of the Mountain on Zwift or something like that. So I commit to a time frame on that one, but yeah, that'll be mine. But I always do the 3 resistance training days and the 2 swimming days. So that's like just a given. The parts that'll be hard will be doing the 2 runs and the bike. That'll be like my extra. It'd be easy for me to say that's 3 resistance training and 2 swim days because that's what I'm doing already. And it's just baked into my mornings now.
Yeah, but if you're on I don't know. That's a lot of volume.
Yeah, well, I'm eating a lot of food too. Okay, you know what? I'm going to move this 2 run days down to 1 run day because I'm not feeling like running. So 1 run, I'm already doing one. I'm doing 1 bike a week too also. So the only thing I'm adding to my current weeks is 1 run.
That's not bad.
And a steroid
Yeah, and if you
stack
just-
or something.
Nice and slow. Just get out. Yeah.
Not really though. But yeah, that'd be
Cool.
that'd be
Is 10 to 15
mine.
a lot? No. Now you're taking away bike day. I'm like, should I take away stuff from mine? I'm just kidding. I need it. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to setting it up. What are you typing?
What?
Steroids?
No, I keep telling.
I don't know if that was
I
like,
keep telling
are you
Ashley.
put-
I keep telling.
Are you putting in another segment? Do the testosterone replacement.
Well, no, I keep telling Ashley like, I was like, I'm gonna do steroids. I was like, I'm gonna do. And I keep telling her I get home from, or like, I'm like, yeah, I accidentally slipped and fell on a syringe at the Y. Got injected with steroids.
Oh man. Well, that is the last segment we got today. And as far as closing goes, we don't have an official outro. That's one I focus more on the intro, but we do have the domain, tryguyspodcast.com. So I got to create an email, be spot to email us, and we'll be available on all the main platforms.
Find us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube,
Apple Podcasts, not
Tinder.
not Apple Music,
TikTok,
Apple
Tinder,
Podcasts,
Bumble.
Grind or
Oh yeah, right. Grinder, yeah, all of them.
OnlyFans,
We're on
OnlyFans,
everything.
Try Guys.
Yeah.
That is a
But when we do become on a platform, be sure to review and 5-star us. Everybody. That's
We
the
wanna
best
pander for
way
5
to
stars.
be for us to be seen on the platform is to get reviews and 5 stars. And we'd appreciate it from everybody.
Tell us we suck, but give us a 5-star.
Yeah.
As long as you're writing
Yeah, if
something.
you write a cool
doesn't
review,
matter.
we'll read it. We'll make a segment for reading it.
I
Yeah.
like that. We should do like if we ever get to a point where we get
We need-
reviews, we could read
yeah.
some.
Oh,
of
we'll
those.
get
need
people.
people.
I mean, local people we can.
Oh yeah, we will.
I'll have
I
my
know.
mom watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my
I know,
parents watch.
that's what I was
I have
like.
friends like
I was like, I could count 20 because I was like, 22 people. If we get 20 people, I'd be pumped. I was like, I could think of 20 people that would listen. So I'm like that first unique listener. Who will you be?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
But
what we got.
all right, well, that's all we got.
All right.
And
Wrap
we
it
can-
up. Put a
Give us
bow
that
on it.
outro music, John.
Oh, yeah.
Hit us with the outro music.
I got you. Yeah.
Have a great night, everybody.
That was kind of
What
lame.
is this? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it starts building.
Woo.
All right. It's like funk.
You have been listening to the Try Guys podcast. We'll catch you next week. Out.
Hey, that was
All right.